Alright guys, have to go back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. A very interesting set of events transpiring here ahead of Major 3 in Toronto after OpTic seemingly are still going to play with Pro League for this upcoming weekend. iLLeY of course has been trying, theoretically, to recover as best he possibly can with his thumb to be ready to go. But seemingly, he might have secretly been playing some matches last night in the Elite, well, without telling the rest of his team, and Rambo Ray might not be too happy about this one. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, we've got to talk about this kind of Challengers Elite in general though. Firstly though, for Methods and Zero, they're in a tough spot right now of course, finding themselves in the losers bracket, both of the Major. These last few weeks for them have been tough, but still, they find themselves in kind of a comfortable position in terms of CDL points, which, but honestly, like, if a lot of these good teams have crazy performances in the Major, like, it's not out of the realms of possibility that a team like LAG could get overall. It's still possible, and maybe even these guys as well, even though I doubt that's going to happen, but, you know, still, these guys had such a great start to the season, but the other teams, Minnesota, Toronto, like Seattle Surge, New York Southerners, they're making an absolute run right now and are significantly better, all of those teams, I think, than, well, the two guys that are on screen right now, their teams. Now, of course, as we talk about the Challenger side, Waskin apparently is going to make the return. Of course, Waskin and Scraps, good duo back in the day. They were in their fair share of drama on the London side, eventually kind of getting removed off that team and not playing with them again through, well, of course, Cold War and into this season as well. But apparently they want to be back in Modern Warfare 2, right? Because Modern Warfare was a pretty good season for them. Like, you know, Waskin was one of the best snipers in the game, right? So it'd be good to see him back on a team, I think, but it's going to be a hard task for him to get there. And the work ethic to achieve that might have to be better than what it was rumored to be back in the Modern Warfare 8 initially on the Ravens. We've got to talk about Clayster though, right? So the Challengers Elite goes down last night to one of the Challengers Cups, I think it's what it was. And, well, as Clayster says, waking up early to get scrims in for the remainder of the Cup, oozing passion, right? So Clay's gone down to Challengers. He said, look, I'm going to form a team. I'm going to try and be the best I possibly can be down here. Prove to the CDL teams, like, look, I'm not here to mess around. I'm here to be the best. Like, you know, I'm still here to compete. I'm not, like, just here to collect a paycheck effectively. I still want to be the best in the world. And he did a cracking job of trying to prove that last night. But in the European side, it's actually the Rokkr Academy that win. Now they've got Sucri on their team instead of, I believe, their Journey for the first part of the year. But yeah, maybe the Rokkr Academy towards the end of the year, they're kind of getting back on top. Of course, yeah, the Rokkr Academy, both Ultra Academies, both rather good right now in all the regions. Like, the kind of Challengers event they're going to have in Toronto is going to be an absolute banger as well. Just, of course, alongside the pro event this coming weekend. But yeah, Clayster and co, they make it all the way to the grand finals from the losers bracket though. So Clayster's team is Spart, Johnny, Clayster, and Fellow. Pretty good team. Like, it's crazy the amount of these players, or the amount of these teams that are basically just pro players. Like, if we look at the other side, we've got Brack, of course, former pro, like a great player back in the day in Black Ops 4, especially, right? Midnight and Luminosity, especially. They've got 2 real as well. And then it's Neptune and MajorManiak on this other squad. And then, of course, like, you know, Clayster has that team we just mentioned. They hot 3-0 the team of Neptune and MajorManiak in the first bracket, or in the first kind of best of 5, because they actually do a good double best of 5 format there down there in Challengers that for some reason they don't replicate in the CDL. Not really sure why often the Challenger scene is run better than the pro scene, although it's promoted much less. Like, yeah, as I said before, the fact that I have to effectively rely on Challengers Intel, CDC Intel here to get all this information and the screenshots and all the updates is, and the CDL should probably be doing something, is quite frustrating in my opinion. But feel free to follow CDC Intel, of course, because doing a great job covering this stuff. But you know, anyway, it was 2-0 to Clayster at this point after a 6-0 in the Session Destroy. They then go to the second best of 5, or the second best of 5, and they close this one out 3-1 to end up at, well, eliminating Neptune and co and winning the Cup. So fair play to Clayster, honestly. He goes down here, forms a good team with Fellow, Spart, and Johnny, and they win the first Cup they play effectively, and of course we'll take this momentum into the Challengers event at Toronto. So really cool to see our thought from Clayster's side, as he says, 1 for 1, 100%, you know, world record, Toronto Open at next. So he's looking to go back to back. Good to see Clayster kind of enjoying his Call of Duty. Vanguard might not be the greatest game in the world, but he's still enjoying trying to be the best. He enjoys grinding, enjoys being the best teams. Of course, Clayster's 30 now, right, and Crimsix just turned 29 yesterday. So these guys are, you know, certainly there or thereabouts, and, you know, he believes he can keep playing for a fair bit longer, and hopefully that's the case. He said that he wants to keep playing. If he gets a spot on a team at the start of next year, he will keep playing for that roster. Paris, I think, is the only organization that he said, like, he'd have a bit of, you know, question marks about joining, and who can blame him, right, with the state of Paris right now. Does seem to be a bit of a career-ender organization, to be honest. If Clayster could buck the trend on that one, that would be rather impressive. But if any of the other 11 teams gives Clayster a shot next season, he will go ahead and take it, and if he doesn't get a shot, then he's just going to hang out the 6 and retire. So hopefully he does. I think, honestly, there was a lot of talk about whether he could get a spot in the latter half of this season. I think, honestly, there are some teams that probably could improve from Clayster's services. Florida Mutiny is probably a good example, although they probably don't need another main assault rifle on their team, to be honest. But, you know, there's some teams that certainly could use Clayster, I think, and probably would improve with him on the roster. And he said that, like, put me in any team that's kind of in jeopardy of not making champs, and I'll make it happen effectively, right? So it would be cool to see, but probably not going to happen until next year. But I'd be very surprised if Clay doesn't get a spot next season, especially because he's kind of continuing to prove the passion that he has and the ability that he has down there in challenges, like when he's not on what was, you know, pretty dysfunctional subliners roster looking back on it, right? These were their kind of winners from the other regions, so just to kind of keep this on screen for a second. There's a Suck crew which kind of cracks me up, honestly, in the European side, Spanish player, and also in the Latin American region as well, so kind of confuses me a little bit this, but it's not the same guy that won both tournaments, at least to my knowledge. Otherwise, this guy's absolutely out of control, playing on 2 monitors at the same time or whatever. But, you know, as this says, just real quick before we go on to the OpTic stuff, as Clay mentioned right here in this clip, that apparently Shane, the new assistant coach for Los Angeles Thieves, has been with them for quite some time. So we saw what it was Octane had to say a couple of days ago in his post-game interview, that you know, he was actually really happy with what Shane had done for the roster. And he praised Shane 3 times in the same interview. It didn't say anything about JCap or Mudog or whatever else is going on over there. So I do wonder what that means for the future of this Thieves squad, if they believe that Shane is probably the coach they want to have going forwards. But yeah, apparently he's been there quite some time. Now, well, maybe he had some brief impact right in kind of the series that they had after they brought him through the 3-0 against Boston. But yesterday, they failed to win a map again. So Thieves either turn up and win every single map, or they turn up and lose every single map. That seems to be the way it goes. Map 1 determines the winner of the series. But let's talk about the OpTic one, of course, because they played Los Angeles Thieves yesterday. Shotzzy, most certainly the MVP here. Product turned up on the control. But outside of that, I mean, Shotzzy came into the first 2 maps with a 2.0 over both of the maps, right? I mean, obviously game 1, he went a 2.5 KD, 42 and 17. That's going to be a difficult record to break on Berlin hardpoint, especially also because how dominant the game was, right? Like, if that game had gone to, you know, the distance, right? Like, he was 250 to 130, and he dropped 42 kills on Berlin hardpoint. Like, if that game had gone 250 49, he would have had 55 plus, right? Which would have been absolutely incredible. But of course, the big talking point about OpTic has been, when is iLLeY going to come back into the starting team? ProLoot says this yesterday. GG's Thieves 1-3-0 went 4-1 this stage and excited for the major. So my understanding is, and I believe that Scump has said this on stream, and it's certainly been implied, that ProLoot will play this major. They've of course played some great games. They've adapted very well to them in the system. It makes sense, I think, for them just to go through, not bring any back, not put like undue pressure, not only on him individually, but also on his thumb to kind of play and say, look, ProLoot, we're going to play the major with you. They've been looking great with him anyway. They only lost that 1 series to the Subliners. Obviously, you know, Subliners are a very good team at the moment, won the Pro-Am Classic, and that's what they're going to plan to do seemingly here going into the major. But the big talking point has been about iLLeY, right? So he tweets this out yesterday. Challenges because is an absolute banger. So when I saw this, I thought he was, okay, he's probably just watching the Challenger stuff. Now, rumor has it, there was a clip that developed last night that was being talked about that was iLLeY. I'm not exactly sure how this got leaked, but I believe someone maybe went in his TeamSpeak or like joined his call by accident, and I think he was playing on what's known as a ringer, so effectively like not his own account, but someone else's account, and he was playing in the Elite with some other guys, and maybe trying to keep this under wraps and keep this a bit of a secret, because obviously, look, this guy's got incredible passion for Call of Duty, but it's been made very clear by the OpTic guys that they've told him, like, look, take as much time off as you need, don't play COD, stay away from COD, make sure your thumb is okay, because he might be able to play for an hour or 2 or whatever without his thumb hurting, whatever the issue actually is that we don't really have any information on, at least as of recording the video, and then after, you know, a couple of hours, then the pain starts to come back. So they've told him, look, make sure you don't play any Call of Duty, please, wring your neck if you do, I think is what Hex said, or, you know, something along those lines effectively, obviously joking, and now he might have been spotted trying to hide it for the OpTic guys by playing this matchup right here. So either this means he's ready to go, or it means that he's kind of like, you know, he's just too passionate, right, and he can't stop himself from playing Call of Duty, even if it might be hurting himself and the team in the long run. So I'll share the clip, and I'll also share the clip that then came out from Shotzzy's stream after, when they, well, Shotzzy and Scump kind of found out about this, and Scump was like, damn, Rambo Ray is not going to be happy about this one.
We want to do a generic left roof, right roof.
Are they starting the game?
I'm gonna go top third. I'm gonna like.
That's iLLeY! It is iLLeY, bro!
Wait. Go back. He talked. Go back. Are they starting the game?
I'm gonna go top third. I'm gonna like.
That's iLLeY!
Starting the game?
That's iLLeY! It is iLLeY!
Player standing.
This would actually be detrimental if we lose this round.
Wait, just playing, bro.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
What?
Is he actually?
I knew it, dude. I knew it, bro.
Is he actually?
Dude, yes. Dude, I knew Indra would do some like this, dude.
Wait, who's he playing under? Or how's he playing?
I don't know, but he's playing with Tanya.
No way, dude.
Dude, he's being a little rat, dude.
No way, dude.
Dude,
I'm actually. Wait, someone's got to get me this clip.
Dude,
Don't try to link it though. You'll get timed out. Don't try to link it.
Dude, he's literally, dude. Oh my gosh.
Bro, no
Dude,
shot,
why
bro.
is he, dude, bro, Andrew loves.
Spike planted.
Oh, dude, Ray is tweaking right now though.
Wait, how?
I mean, if he sees that, Ray is gonna be tweaking. What do you mean how?
Wait, how did it get leaked though? I'm so confused.
I don't know. How did that get leaked?
So what do you guys think about this, right? Look, we know that iLLeY's like got passion beyond belief for Call of Duty, and you know, it's obviously good to see the passion. But the problem is for iLLeY, right, is if he, you know, just can't stay away from playing Call of Duty, whatever, and using his thumb in this way, then he's not necessarily going to be healing as quickly as he might have done otherwise. The key point really would have been to just stay away as much as possible. And like, just the fact that he might be using a ringer and has kind of been exposed in this way, when of course he didn't necessarily mean to be exposed. It did definitely sound like him, right? I kind of highly doubt there's another one who sounds just like iLLeY like that. Of course, that clip did. So it probably was him. I'd say 99% likelihood it probably was, which probably does mean he was trying to hide it from the rest of the team. But who knows if he was just going to, you know, give his thumb a go to see how it worked for just a few hours of playing Call of Duty, you know, play some chals, see if it's improved. Because that's kind of the key thing, right? If he wants to return to the team, is it's not just playing for 1 to 2 hours for a matchup, it's playing for, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours that you might play in a day for, you know, a set of scrims, for example. Like, you're not going to be able to return to the team full time if you're not able to play scrims for many hours with the team. So I think that's kind of the key concern. I know that Rambo and Hex certainly told iLLeY, like, look, stay away, don't do it. But if he is supposedly injured and he's not going to be playing any Call of Duty at all, then I'm sure the team aren't going to be particularly happy about this. Or there's another explanation in that iLLeY's actually perfectly fine now and they're going to announce his return imminently. So we'll see about that. Clay does actually comment on this on the Reddit here, saying like his, you know, his thumb's been on and off, kind of proven like, you know, if he's testing it out, what does it really matter? But it depends what the kind of internal comms has been for the team. If they told him like, don't play any COD, stay away, make sure your thumb's fully healthy, and he kind of hasn't done that and has tried to hide it from the team, then I'm sure they might be discussing this internally, right? You'd imagine they would, but you know, iLLeY, this guy just like, he can't seem to stay away from Call of Duty, it seems. And this of course is what Rambo said, you know, back in May at the time, like they definitely have the pieces to hold down the fort while iLLeY recovers, and seemingly it's taken longer than they certainly expected it to, after of course it was at the Prime Classic at the start of May when all this stuff went down. We're now effectively a month on and it doesn't really seem like we're coming to a resolution anytime soon. It is certainly possible, but you know, just on this topic actually, we saw Skies even said yesterday he was having some issues with his hands, and apparently MajorManiak's come through with this kind of, you know, padding he's got right here, so maybe that's going to be the solution. Is concerning to see a lot of these kind of thumb problems and hand issues crop up for these teams, and as I've said, like they've got to think about not just the players but also the organizations, how we, you know, make sure these guys take care of their hands and stuff, because rather important property as iLLeY seemingly is finding out at the moment. But I'm definitely very intrigued to hear your thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Like, this is pretty funny from the flank actually, because they found this video from when he was on the Dallas Empire. They did some sort of, I don't even know what content exactly they did this for, but yeah, it's pretty funny nonetheless, to be honest. And yeah, this from Sean Collins did want to mention, because maybe by the time this video has gone live or something along those lines, there is well, an insider story happening about what's going on with iLLeY. Whether this is an insider story about the fact that, you know, it's going to be disappointing for him to not be able to play at Toronto in front of his family and friends and home crowds, or whether it's going to be, you know, his return. But apparently before the article does go live, he already kind of talked about the fact that, you know, that guy is different, that's just Shotsy, that record that he had right there was insane. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. The final thing I did want to mention just before we close out the video here is because the standings, well, this was the bracket for the major, if you guys saw this earlier today, but they released the schedule for this, and the 4 games on the Thursday are starting an hour and a half later than usual. So instead of starting at 3 PM Eastern, they're starting at 4:30 Eastern. At least that is the current announcement. Now, I don't really know why you would do this unless it's a venue specific thing, because it completely destroys the European region and means that the final game of only a 4-game day will finish scheduled at about 4 AM, and for LAN events that's usually going to be later than 4 AM, right? So okay, yeah, that's certainly frustrating. I don't know what I'm going to do for those, you know, weekend matches. If it gets too late, I might just have to chalk it off and just do one video on the day and just recap it in the morning, or just talk that video. I don't really know how I'm going to do it, because if the, like, maybe the 4-game day is just about okay, but if the 5 match days start at 9:30 instead of starting when they usually do, then the games are going to finish at like 6 AM my time. So I'm going to need a good explanation from the CDL about this one. But yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video. I'd just like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.